Welcome to SFG Top Performance. Today we have Jason and I, and we have our two scouts, Aiden and Dre. Jason's going to lead off by telling us what he's seeing out there.
Yeah, we're the cornfields are pretty extreme, and these guys will talk a little bit more about it. But it's incredible. Right around the Milo area, the corn's looking really good. We've had rain. It's head high. It looks really good. You get south, and it's not so good. It's rolled up and it looks pretty poor. They need a rain desperately. But we've done a lot of tissue samples in the last 2-3 weeks. And in them tissue samples, the nitrogen, and if you've been applying a sulfur, they look very good. The levels, we didn't lose any. Obviously, it's still there. It wouldn't be as high as it is. I have seen some potassium deficiency, and that's probably because it's dry, and the potassium takes a lot of water to pull it up through the plant. And so, even the fields that have had a lot applied, there is some deficiency in the plant from the dry weather we've had. And along with that, manganese, I've seen some low test results from that. And that's for a couple things. One, the dry weather, and the second one, the chemicals tie up your manganese very, very, very quickly. So them two things are, a factor in the manganese. You guys have done a lot of the tissue sampling. Do you guys want to talk about how you do that and tell our group a little about that?
A lot of fun out there.
Yeah, it's pretty hot out there. We just go out and take the top colored leaf off and
get a handful and shove it in a bag for you guys.
How many samples you usually get in a field?
Depends on how big it is. Sometimes we do 1, sometimes we do 2. I've had up to 3 for some of them, but just try to get different areas to see what's all going on.
But when you get a sample, you got to get how many, 10 different leaves or different plants or 20 different plants?
I just do a big handful. I've been told to do a softball size.
Oh,
and
put them all together.
Yeah, just bundle it up, bunch of as much as you can, and just put it in the bag and hope it all fits and it all ships pretty well.
Yeah. You doing the same thing, Aiden? You seen the same thing, or doing it the same way?
Yeah, actually my first time I did tissue sampling was yesterday, and I did it on some of your guys' fields, doing different hybrids and some for pivot bio, non-pivot bio stuff. I had some that only had 1 or 2, and I know today we got some to do that only have 1, but I've done a few tissue samples. We got some more to do today, but yeah, so far everything's looked pretty good, especially from here all the way pretty much to Indianola, Milo area. Got a lot more rain than a lot of the states. So.
Yep. And I talked a little about how the corn looks, and you guys are in the fields every day.
Yeah.
What are you guys seeing as far as health of the corn? Are you noticing anything that's deficient? Have you found any fields like that, like our tissue samples are showing? I know they look green and healthy yet, but that's a way to detect things early so we can still take care of some things. So are you guys seeing any of these deficiencies yet?
Yeah, the only ththing I saw was a little bit of potassium deficiency, and that was only in maybe a couple of fields, and it was just some of that yellowing on the outside of the leaf, and the older leaves. So, but not a lot really visible deficiencies. A lot of the fields look really, really good around this area. So,
You get from this location, which is south of Knoxville, this way they're getting water. Like last week in Knoxville, they got 1 to 2 inches of rain. Probably got the same in the Milo area, but right here at this location we got not even a ½ inch, and then you don't have to go 10 miles south, got nothing. So those guys it's hurting down to the south, and they're just not getting it. But the crop don't look near as good that way, just for the fact of the moisture. That's how I'm seeing it. I don't know if you can tell the southern part of your area is in it.
Definitely, the farther south I go, the worse the dryness there is. There's an area that is very dry. I think they've told me ½ inch of rain since they planted their beans, and
wow.
You can tell because the ground's very hard, and you can tell. And and then we'll talk about beans a little bit since I mentioned planted their beans. A lot of the 15-inch rows, the beans aren't extremely large, but they seem to be shaded in, and they're growing good right now. But I always say August rain makes the beans, so beans will hang on until August, and if we get that rain in August, we're going to have good beans. Mm-hmm. What are you guys seeing in the bean fields? You seen any disease or bugs yet or anything like that?
I saw some bugs towards the beginning of the summer when I got started here, just a few bean leaf beetles, but other than that, probably I haven't seen some in probably a couple weeks at least.
I haven't seen nearly anything. It's mostly just some weeds popping up. They just get sprayed. They're good.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the weeds you're talking about that needed sprayed. Our pre's worked great this year. Yeah. A lot of them are, we always say 30 days, but a lot of them are going on 2 months, and they still look really good. So I don't care which program it is. If you had a good pre down, it held very well this year. And in most areas, there's areas that didn't get rain that it's not as good, but most areas around, especially right around Milo, they worked really, really good. You guys mentioned the fields that you're seeing a few weeds in it. Are there one pass fields that are weedy that you're scouting before we spray them? That's where they've tried that?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't fully know on some of them.
And a lot of them are, but
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, now it's just like, guys, for you guys who sprayed, we just go back out and look at all the sad looking weeds that aren't not going to live anymore. They're just all curled up and burnt and dead. So it's nice to look at sometimes.
that's good. And for those of you that don't know, that we get a report. These guys report back and take excellent pictures. They do stand counts, and that comes along with your full service spray application. So anybody that's doing the full service spray application, these guys are in their field scouting, and you will get that report. It's a very good report that comes back. So that's a thing that our company does that a lot of places don't. That they add a lot of value to us, because that way I don't get across every acre. It's impossible, and Charles can't, and all of our salesmen cannot get across every acre, but these guys can.
Yep, and
They're out there doing
Real good job of being detailed. So.
Yes, the reports are very detailed. If there's a weed there, they're probably going to take a picture of it. Or if you have something wrong, they're going to take a picture of it, and you're going to see it in that report. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of value to that. So, you guys want to talk a little bit more about how your summer's going with scouting, and if any?
Yeah, so we get, I know some of the first fields I scouted, that was right after the pre came out for a lot of stuff, and then, we just like, if we saw any problems with weeds or any outbreaks or stuff like that. And I had a couple of year fields that I did that we found some stuff, got it sprayed real quick, and I think Dre just talked about how he went and scouted it not that long ago, and everything looked dead and everything looked good. So yeah, it's been a real good job so far, I think.
Yep. So the last thing I think we want to talk about is fungicides. It's getting that time of year. We're about, a couple, 3 weeks away, but, in areas that have had rain, and even last year in areas that we didn't get so much rain, that fungicide added a lot of value. So I think, we need to be looking at the fungicides, and we aren't seeing a lot of disease yet in anything, but, there's that fungicides added a lot of value, especially last year in the dry. It was dry, and it added a lot of value, so.
It isn't just because it's healthy. It's
Yes.
the drought stress it's going to help it also. It's
Yeah.
not. It's
Yep. So even it helps everything there. So, and then with the soybeans, I always encourage putting that insecticide in with your fungicide. So, if you haven't got your plan for that, it's time to get that put together. And Charles, as far as everything else, operation wise, it
Yep.
looks like things are going well.
you bet. Everything's went great. We kind of easy street spraying. There's no big fires. I said, hey, I got to hurry up and get it done. It's going to rain, so we've got pretty timely fashion of getting everything done. Corn's all sprayed the second time. We're basically done top dressing urea, done side dressing liquid. Another week or so we'll be done spraying the beans for the second time and be getting ready for fungicide. The airplanes will probably be flying, looks like 4th of July week. It looks like today, don't it? I mean, you'll start seeing this corn tassel, and that's when you'll start seeing the airplanes, and everybody will start asking questions, well, should I do mine? Should I do mine? So how soon, but anyway, that'll be our next. But as far as work wise, we're shifting gears, getting into our summer mode where we're going to start painting, cleaning, and getting things tuned up for put away as in equipment, or spring applied equipment, and start getting the grounds in good shape. Bins will be getting cleaned out, and it's summertime, I guess. So it's time to go, and next thing you know, it's going to be time to harvest. So, well, I want to thank you for joining us this time. We'll catch back with you in 2 weeks.